Pay close attention. This isn't something you see every day.
And the Masters of the Universe.
Welcome back to another video, and today I want to talk about the 80 years of Mattel celebration of the Masters of the Universe. Now, don't misconstrue what I just said. It's 80 years of Mattel celebration. And then we are having this Masters of the Universe 2-pack of Skeletor and He-Man. That's what I'm trying to say, by Mattel. Anyway, as you can see, it says 80 with Mattel right here on the front. Beautiful artwork of Castle Grayskull, He-Man, and Skeletor in the back, or on the packaging here. And then you have He-Man and Skeletor in the window box. And this is just crazy, this bit right here. On the side, we have a little bit of artwork. On the bottom, we have the UPC right here, and then some legalese. And then on this side here, we have the rest of the artwork. You can see Skeletor's Havoc staff coming here, side of Grayskull with some clouds. And on the back itself, it is that nostalgia from back in the day, from when we were kids. We have this beautiful artwork on the back here of Skeletor, He-Man, Man-at-Arms, Teela, Grayskull in the background, moons, all that stuff. The actual figures, squishy heads like from back in the day, the two different swords, the dark half and the light half, to combine to open Grayskull. And it is back, the swivel punch that we used to have as kids. So this is definitely a big nostalgic piece. And shout out to my customer who gave this to me as a gift for a tip for when I was at their house. They don't want to be named, so I won't name them, but thank you again. And then right down here it says on the banner, let me just move the camera a little bit, pan it down. If you actually look right about there on that yellow right there, it says 80 years of celebrating. It says celebrating 80 years of Mattel toys with the Masters of the Universe. And then you can read the rest yourself. But anyway, yes. So let's get this out of the package and let's talk about this nostalgic piece that Mattel has given us in 2025.
And I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe.
Okay, so this unboxing is a little bit different than most, but anyway, just to show you, this is what's on the side here. You have to remove this that goes across the front to open this up, because this box here actually opens up kind of like a set of books. So this is pretty cool, opening this up. This is my first time doing this here with you guys. So setting this whole thing up, as you can see, now you have He-Man and Skeletor there, and then on each side, if I move this over, I gotta bring the camera back up to actually show this off. You have He-Man. I'm just gonna lift it up. You have He-Man, which has some beautiful artwork right there. He-Man with Castle Grayskull, the moons and stuff like that. And then on this side over here, if I may, we have Skeletor and Snake Mountain. So that's really cool that they did that on the inside of the box. Let me get everything settled back, and then that way we can actually take a look at this this figure. So let me just lower this down just a wee bit. All right, so I haven't, like I said, I didn't take this all apart and move it and all sorts of stuff for taking them out. So as you can see right here, it says removable. So I guess you can remove this piece here and then pull this out right here, and then you have the actual figures behind it, and they say, you know, of course, Master of the Universe, He-Man, all this stuff. And then you got Skeletor, also the Lord of Destruction. So let's pull these guys out, and look, right in the back, just the way you would expect it, with the exploding rocks. And now we have both figures out of the packaging, and yeah, so now let's get this all put away, and now we can actually start taking a look at the packaging that the figures come in and the figures themselves. All right, so let me tell you something. I'm really excited about this. This was actually really cool gift from a customer. I thank you so much. I mean, this is just wow. This is a blast from the past from when I was a kid. And granted, yes, they are just revitalized. They're not the vintage toy, but let me tell you something. They are just a remake of the vintage toy that we have here, and fabulous. So here's both of the figures here in their card backings and their bubbles, and you know, still has that little bubble to keep the figure from moving inside. Really cool stuff that we have going on right here. So starting off, let's take Skeletor out of the way and let's show off He-Man. So beautiful, just nostalgic. Everything is just nostalgic from when I was a kid. And then you have the card art on the back. The cool thing about this here is it slides up, so you can, it's a repackaging friendly thing, so you can take the, slide that out. And of course we have the mini comic right here, which is always cool because it's a nostalgic thing to actually read these comics, and the fact that they're getting them out here now for the newer generation is actually really cool. So yes, and then of course we have on the back, you got He-Man and Skeletor right here, Masters of the Universe. And yeah, very nicely done. Very well done. Pulling out the bubble from in the back, right? You actually have the figure itself. Now, this figure is still in here, of course, and yes, I will be taking him out. But before I do, let's take a look at Skeletor. That way we can do this all in one shot, and we don't have to worry about going over one at a time. And of course, here's Skeletor in all his glory, and then of course some beautiful artwork of Skeletor on the back. So you have this part of the picture here, and then the other part of He-Man with Tila and all that, which is actually the picture that's on the back of the box. So that's cool too. Slide it up. Okay. Then you have the comic. Just slide it right out. And of course, now this is a different comic right here of He-Man fighting some kind of weird looking octopus type deal thing. But once again, still nostalgic, still cool. These comics are what made the figures what they are, because the figures in the comics were the lore before the cartoon. So that's really cool. And this whole thing is just a big old giant blast from the past for me. And of course, now we have Skeletor in his bubble, and of course he's still strapped in there. So give me a second, I will get these guys out, and then we will talk about them, and we'll take a good look at them, and we'll end this review. Okay, so starting off, we're going to start off with Skeletor, and let me tell you something. This is actually really cool to be able to see these now as an adult collector, to actually get these in hand and actually have them looking the way that they do. I mean, just nostalgia on its own. I mean, look at Skeletor's head sculpt, the way they have done that, the blue and the yellow, and the way they just captured the purple in his eyes, just like the vintage toy was from when we were kids. And of course his battle harness on the jewel, the Hordak emblem on his chest, and then down here at the bottom, everything, you know, is still the nostalgic way, the way they had the buckles in the back, his blue skin, he has the reptilian hands, no joints to bend here. The only difference between this and the original figure is that there are no rubber bands in the legs to hold it together like there was in the vintage one, which, okay, makes this easier to stand, but still, I mean, this is cool. And then as far as this goes, you can pull him back, right? Move him back, and then you have the, I'll get my hand out of the way. Then you have that old punching pose, that, you know, the action feature that they used to have when we were kids. So either way, you can have him punching, you can have him slashing. And that was one of the coolest features back in the day because, well, that's what they had. And also, squishy heads. just like they had back then. Now, granted, I understand why they changed the squishy heads on some of these figures, like the Ninja Turtles when they first came out. They had squishy heads the first release of the Turtles, and they became choking hazards for kids, I guess, because kids decided to put them in their mouth and, yeah, chew on them, choke on them, whatever the case is, instead of just playing with their figures. The arms, you used to be able to pop these off the socket. I'm not even going to try to do that to this because I'm just not. But anyway, he comes with a couple things, which you guys already know what he comes with. And yeah, I mean, we have his Havoc staff, which in all his glory, this is what it looked like from when I was a kid, and beautiful. The sculpt is beautiful, the color is beautiful. I have to give it to Mattel on saying that they just had done a great job. Now I have a little bit of a smuts right here on mine. I'm not too worried about it. It is what it is. It's just probably when it came out of the mold, they just didn't get that cleaned off of there. But yeah, very nice. Very, very nice. Great looking Havoc staff. It's not all bent and warped, so I appreciate that. And then we have his dark half of the sword, which mine curves a little bit, which I can straighten that out. That's not a big deal. And then, yeah, we have the two ports right here to plug into He-Man's half of the sword. So this is Skeletor's dark half of the sword. Now, the vintage one, which would have been cool if they did, would put that little, half moon here where they would plug into one another that way, just only because of the fact that that was cool. But maybe they just don't have that type of mold back then. But still just beautiful. Looks absolutely wonderful. Beautiful job. Absolutely great that they have done what they have done with these figures. I mean, come on. I mean, you have the Origins line. You have a lot of good things when it comes to Masters of the Universe, right? So you have the you have what do you want to call it? Origins. Then you have the Revelations line. You have New Eternia. You have Motu. You have all that. Plus you have the classics, right? That's what the name of the line was? Now, I can't remember. Was it you put it over the thumb like this to get him to hold it with the guard, or you had to put it like this and get the guard to go over his hand? But because of the fact that he doesn't have the other half, yeah, something like that. I remember back in the day, that's why they had the guard. I mean, yeah, you put it in his hand and he's going to hold it, but then he's not going to be able to hold his Havoc staff. So that's why I'm trying to do this. And all right, well, I mean, hey, if I could put it like this, like in the art, there you go. So that's actually smart thinking. Just put the sword face down like that, so then that way he can be posed with his Havoc staff and have the sword right in front of him. Not doing much, but just kind of hanging out here. I just had it a second ago. You see what happens when you go messing with it? There you go. So that's cool. Kind of like the art on the box. If you can get it to stay. For some reason, I'm just having a minute. There we go. All right. Anyway, moving on. Now that I've gone on to my tangent and everything else, we are moving on to He-Man. And yeah, look at that head sculpt. Very reminiscent of when we were kids. Definitely squishy head. The heads are squishy, very squishy. I'm not squeezing it too much because I don't want the paint to crack or anything like that. You have his battle harness, nicely painted, nicely done. I mean, what can you say? You have the wrist guards on both sides, and yes, this one always was like this here. It was always just flesh color underneath, and then of course down to his belt, his fuzzy breeches, his legs, and then his boots. I'd have to look at a vintage figure, and they probably did have the straps on there. I just don't remember, so I don't want to say that they weren't there. But I mean, great. We have his Iron Cross on here, nicely painted, and of course you have the clasps and the buckles on the back. just like you did in the vintage figure. And yeah, I mean, you could take these off if you want to, if that's what you want to do. But my word, man, I mean, beautifully done. I have to give it to Mattel for bringing these out. And look at that. That's what I remember, that spring being so like that. Just hearing that sound is just very, very, very nostalgic. Very cool. This is a cool set. So if you are a Motu collector and you are a fan, I think Mattel has done a beautiful job. I mean, sculpt wise, paint wise, very clean, very nice. And like I said, you have the 40th anniversary 2-pack that was so hard to get. I don't know where you can get these at. I have not seen them in any stores or anything like that. Like I said, this was a unexpected gift from a customer, so I thought that was really, really cool for them to. And of course, they work at Mattel, to my understanding, from what they told me. So you know, I'm only going by what I'm told. That's why they don't want to be named or whatever the case is, but still a great gift to get from them. So now, looking at He-Man's accessories, let me just set him right over here. And hold on, there we go. So now you have the accessories that we're going to take a look at. And of course you have his shield. Very reminiscent of the original, with the orange and the studs all on it. Slips over the hand. Looks like it has a little magnet in there, right? To hold that in. That's probably just a little metal stud to put that on. No, it's not a magnet. So, but that would have been cool if they did, just to help hold it on there. But of course, it just slips like it did on the vintage over and onto the hand, which I'll show in a little bit. And then of course we have his battle axe, which he came with, and not warped. It's not gummy plastics. Very nicely done. I mean, you can't ask for anything better when it comes to this set. Very, very nice. And then we have his power sword. Now this power sword was really curved. I actually heated it up and straightened it out, but then you can see right here where the plugs are for the studs to go into, to plug Skeletor's dark half of the power sword into it. And this is the light half of the power sword. So you plug the two swords together, and whoever had both halves of the sword were able to enter into Castle Grayskull. And anybody who's read these mini comics would know that Skeletor was in and out of Grayskull a lot. And he wasn't a buffoon either in the old comics. And then in the cartoon, they kind of changed that to give him some comic relief. But anyway, give me a second, because I got to fix Skeletor's sword, because it is all warped, a little bit more warped than what I expected. As you can see, the way the blade kind of curves here at the end. And then we will finish up on this review. Okay, before I jump ahead and start, ending the review and everything, like I said, yeah, how about we try to put these on the actual figure? So the hand was slipping here like it used to, and then that just clips over. So then you have that on there just like that. So that's actually pretty cool. There you have it. And then of course, very classic style, you can have him then holding his battle axe, of course. And this is just a whole lot of fun. I have to say, this is just a whole lot of fun to have with these figures here. And then of course you have the two halves of the sword, which you can place in front of either one of them, or of course you can take it and you can snap together. Now, would it have been cool to either have them to where, there you go, now they're both together. So would it have been cool for Skeletor to have his own sword, because it is the dark half and then you have the light half, and they just pop right apart. But the thing is that this is nostalgic, right, for the two figures to have, because like I said, whoever has both halves is the one that gains access to the power of Grayskull. Now, of course, you can take He-Man's battle axe, which there's no place to store his axe, and you can put his power sword in his hand, which should stay. Doesn't want to, but it should stay. So there you go. Now you have He-Man with his power sword, and then Skeletor with his Havoc staff, which no wrist turning. This is just the way the figures were back in the day. No articulation when it came to them whatsoever. So it was kind of hard to really get that any type of different posability out of these figures. So it was always cool to have like Battle Cat or Panther with these figures, because then you can have them riding on them. And of course, there goes He-Man's power sword falling out of his hand. Granted, I guess I could do it this way and put the guard over his fingers, but then you can't really see the power sword too well. So that was always one of my things, that it doesn't want to go in too well that way. It wants to go this way. So of course his power sword is here. So that's one way to do it, of course. But the limit to the articulation, that's why when the Origins line came out, it was cool, because you had a little bit of articulation when it came to the figures. So that was always neat. But because these are what they are, it is what it is, man. These are just the vintage toys from back in the day that they brought out for an 80-year anniversary for Mattel, that's been making toys for a long time. And I think it's a cool 2-box set to have. I mean, especially, like I said, if you're a Motu fan. So yeah, I mean, they speak for themselves. It's just nostalgia all the way around. So let's see how these guys compare to some of the newer things that are out nowadays, which we know there's a whole ton of stuff out there. I don't have any Master of the Universe figures out to compare these guys to, because there's not really much to compare them to, except for the Origins line, in which we know is just the same height, just with articulation when it comes to the knees and the elbows and stuff like that. So but to compare him to other lines like Storm Arena, we have Ryu here, and then we have Storm Arena's the Ogre. I forget his name. Words are hard for me this morning. And then, of course, we have Jada Toys Shaggy, and we have Jada Toys Leonardo. And of course, they fit. They all fit. They all look good in these crossovers that you can have, especially when it comes to the Turtles. Shaggy, he can go anywhere, man. He's the end all of be all when it comes down to he's the Thanos of stopping everything from going on. And then of course here we have Art the Clown from NECA, and just to throw him in here to wave to say hello. There you go. And as you can see, NECA is a bit taller, but then again, Art the Clown is kind of a tall clowny dude. But yeah, I mean, really cool. This is really cool. And the fact that you have the comics to where you can actually, if you're going to go that far of opening up the comics and reading them, that's awesome, because this will bring the story to the kids that have not had a chance to read these old comics. And if you have the old comics from the figures from back in the day and you allow your kids to read them now, that's just a great story for them to be able to read and experience in their life. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this review of the Masters of the Universe 2-pack of Skeletor and He-Man from 80 years of Mattel. And once again, thank you to the customer. Thank you very much. And yeah, guys, this is very cool. Very cool. So definitely. You know what? Before I go, let's see, who's this? Skeletor's? Before I go, let's see. And if you want to put them back into the package, you can. Put them in the blister pack, of course. I probably did that all wrong because the sword is supposed to go in first. But you put the sword in here, slides in, goes down here into the plastic, and then of course Skeletor is going to sit over it, just like so, into the blister pack. And then of course his Havoc staff, you're going to have to push this through the plastic here to get this bad boy back in there. And once you do, the Havoc staff is just going to sit just like this across, and then you would take his blister pack, and you put it right back in. So if you want to put the figure away, you can. And then of course, you know, the Havoc staff's going to move in there because it's not being held, but you can, you know, piece of tape, whatever you want to use. And then you take his comic and make sure that you put it in here like so. And then you're going to slide his card art right back down. Just got to make sure you push down a little bit, just a wee bit, to get it passed over the comic, as I struggle to do so. But anyway, you just give it a little push. Be mindful of the edges when you get to the second part. Just gently slide it down. Get this to be in there so that way it's not causing any issue. I know I'm not keeping it on camera, so I apologize. But it's kind of difficult to do. There you go. So then you have it right there, back in his packaging with his Havoc staff and his sword in there. And there you go. He's back in his blister box. So that's cool that they actually added a package that a package friendly whatever words I'm trying to use, reuse, so that way you can put your figure back into the whole box if that's what you want to do. You can display them out, put them back, and then that's that. So that's cool that Mattel did that. A lot of when it comes to like anniversary pieces and stuff like that, they should do that, so that way you're not mangling the boxes, especially if you're an in-box collector and you like to take them out and put them back. You'll be able to do so, especially with these. So with that being said, guys, I do hope you enjoyed this review. I know it was a little bit long and a little bit of a rant, but it's excitement. This is just excitement to have these. So if you're looking for these, I couldn't tell you where to get them at. So I do apologize, but in the beginning of the review, there is a UPC symbol on that I showed on the bottom of the box. You can always zoom in, take a picture of it, and try and find it wherever you can. So guys, please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment down below. Always hit the notification bell so you never miss out on anything new. And yeah, have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Healthy and safe one. And I'll catch you on the flippity flip.